That Romy Reiner, who is, I think, only 19 or 20, she's the one who found her parents with their throats slit.
It's awful.
And bodies stabbed multiple times.
Nick was the middle of 3 children that Rob and Michelle Reiner had together. The other 2, Nick's brother and sister, released a statement today.
And that the daughter, I guess, lives on the property or at the house or in the back house, and that she found them, and that the mom was still alive, and apparently she called the ambulance and went in the ambulance with her mother. Michelle died in the ambulance, but had enough time to tell her daughter that it was Nick, their son, who stabbed them. And that's why they figured it out so quickly, and he's in custody.
Nick Reiner's siblings, Jake and Romy, are reportedly begging for mercy for their younger brother, saying they do not want him to face the death penalty, even as he stands accused of killing their parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. According to a close family friend who spoke to the U.S. Sun, they believe Nick's actions were not driven by hatred or cruelty, but by a severe and dangerous mental health crisis that had been spiraling out of control.
We just heard from Rob and Michelle Reiner's 2 other children. What are they saying?
Well, they were not here in court, but shortly after this court appearance, they released a joint statement kind of describing the heartbreak and horror that has happened to them over the last several days. This is the statement from Jake and Romy Reiner saying, quote, "Words cannot even begin to describe the unimaginable pain we are experiencing every moment of the day. The horrific and devastating loss of our parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner, is something that no one should ever experience. They weren't just our parents, they were our best friends. We are grateful for the outpouring of condolences, kindness, and support we have received, not only from family and friends, but people from all walks of life. We now ask for respect and privacy, for speculation to be tempered with compassion and humanity, and for our parents to be remembered for the incredible lives they lived and the love they gave."
Wow.
If you are new to the channel, please do well to subscribe to the channel. They see him not as a monster, but as a deeply unwell person who lost touch with reality. Nick has struggled for years with addiction, emotional instability, and serious mental health problems, and sources say he was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia, a condition that can cause delusions, confusion, and an inability to separate what is real from what is not.
For years, Nick had undiagnosed a mental illness called schizoaffective disorder. And this is a really serious mental disease that has schizophrenia-like symptoms, including hallucinations and delusions, also has mood disorders like manias, severe depression. Around 2020, he was formally diagnosed, we're told, with schizoaffective disorder, and he was put on meds, and the meds were working.
In the weeks leading up to the tragedy, doctors reportedly changed his medication, giving him a new mix of drugs that may have made his symptoms worse instead of better.
A month before the murders, doctors changed the meds. We know why, and you will see that in the documentary, and I think for many, it will shock you why they changed it. But it sent him off the rails, and he became increasingly erratic, dangerous. Rob and Michelle knew it. They saw it. They talked to people about it. They feared it, and it got worse and worse and worse. And a month after that happened, he killed Rob and Michelle.
Friends of the family say this caused his behavior to become more unpredictable, more intense, and more alarming. His siblings believe this sudden shift played a major role in what happened, and they fear that without proper care, Nick became someone they barely recognized.
The objection. So if Romy Reiner is actually going to take the stand and repeat that her mother told her as she lay dying that it was Romy's brother, Nick. Oh my God.
Now, as he faces 2 counts of first-degree murder and the possibility of the harshest punishment allowed by law, his brother and sister are quietly hoping the court will see the full picture, not just the charges, but the long and painful road of mental illness that led to this moment.
Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder. Print that. Print that.
To To them, Nick is not just a defendant, he is still their brother, someone who has been sick for a long time, and someone they believe deserves treatment, not death. According to an insider close to the family, Rob and Michelle Reiner's loved ones are united in one painful belief. They do not want Nick to receive the death penalty, no matter how shocking and heartbreaking this situation has been. The source explained that the family truly believes this tragedy was not an act of evil, but the devastating result of a severe mental health crisis that spiraled out of control. Just weeks before everything happened, Nick had reportedly been diagnosed with schizophrenia and was under close psychiatric care. His loved ones thought he was finally getting the help he needed, but things quickly took a frightening turn. The insider revealed that after doctors adjusted his medication, Nick's condition appeared to worsen instead of improving. His behavior reportedly became more unstable, more unpredictable, and increasingly concerning. He seemed confused, disconnected, and not fully in control of his thoughts or actions. To the family, this was not a coincidence. They believe the medication change played a major role in what followed. They feel that the system failed him when he needed help the most, and that he was seriously ill at the time. One source said the family is heartbroken beyond words and feels that another death would only deepen their suffering, not heal it. The death penalty won't bring Rob and Michelle back, the insider shared. Instead, the family believes justice should come in the form of treatment, not execution. They reportedly support Nick if he chooses to plead not guilty by reason of insanity, because they see him as someone who needs long-term medical care, not more tragedy. Nick himself has spoken openly in the past about his struggles with drug addiction, revealing that he had been in and out of rehab dozens of times since he was just 15 years old. To those who know him best, this is not the story of a violent criminal, but of a deeply troubled man whose life had been unraveling for years, and whose illness, they believe, finally reached a breaking point. Nick's siblings have also made it clear that they want something meaningful to come out of this tragedy, beyond just court decisions and legal debates. They believe what happened should serve as a warning and a lesson so that other families facing similar mental health crises can get help before things spiral out of control. To them, this is not just about their brother. It is about making sure that stories like this can be prevented in the future. A media outlet reached out to the family's representatives for comment, but the family has mostly chosen to stay quiet, focusing on grieving and protecting their privacy. Not long after the killings, Nick was scheduled to appear in court for his arraignment, a moment that marked the official start of a long and painful legal process. During those early days, his siblings, Romy and Jake, released a heartfelt statement asking the public to approach the situation with compassion instead of cruelty. They thanked people from all over the world for the messages of kindness, support, and condolences they had received. But they also asked for privacy, urging people to stop spreading rumors and to remember their parents for the beautiful lives they lived and the love they gave, rather than focusing only on the tragedy of their deaths. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles County District Attorney announced plans to pursue what are called special circumstances, a legal move that could make Nick eligible for the harshest possible punishment under the law, either the death penalty or life in prison without parole. Still, even if prosecutors decide to push for the death penalty, Nick would not actually face execution under California's current rules. The state has had a long-standing pause on executions, put in place by the governor, which stops all executions from being carried out while still allowing the death penalty to exist as a legal option. This adds another layer of complexity to an already heartbreaking case, leaving the family trapped between grief, public judgment, and a legal system that moves slowly, painfully, and often without emotional closure. A criminal defense lawyer based in Oakland, Joanna Nieves, explained that the order signed by California's governor did not erase the death penalty, even though many people believe it did. She said the order mainly stopped executions from happening, shut down the execution chamber at San Quentin, and paused the use of lethal injection. However, it did not cancel existing death sentences or remove the death penalty from the law entirely. In simple terms, California still technically has the death penalty, and prosecutors are still legally allowed to ask for it in certain serious cases. Nieves made it clear that while executions are currently paused, the legal system still treats capital punishment as an option. District Attorney Hochman has also shared that the wishes of the family will be considered when deciding how to move forward with sentencing, which adds an emotional and personal layer to an already complex legal process. Meanwhile, official records show that Rob and Michelle died very close together in time after what authorities describe as a violent encounter involving their son. The closeness of their recorded times of death has deeply shaken the public and the family, making the tragedy feel even more unbearable. For many people following the case, these details make the story feel painfully real, reminding everyone that this is not just a legal battle, it is the sudden, heartbreaking loss of 2 lives and the collapse of an entire family in a matter of moments. The tragic discovery at the Reiner family's Brentwood home reportedly began in a way no one could have ever expected. According to reports, a massage therapist arrived at the house that afternoon for a scheduled appointment, unaware that something was terribly wrong inside. When she received no answer at the front gate, she became concerned and reached out to the couple's daughter, Romy, who lived nearby. Romy rushed over, likely thinking it was a simple misunderstanding, but what she walked into would change her life forever. When she entered the home, she reportedly found her father first, realizing immediately that something horrific had happened. Authorities later confirmed that both parents had died inside their bedroom, and some reports suggested they may have been resting at the time of the attack. When police arrived shortly after, Romy told them that her brother Nick also lived at the home, which immediately raised serious concern. However, Nick was nowhere to be found at the property, deepening the mystery and urgency of the situation. Hours later, police located him miles away near Exposition Park, where he was taken into custody. Before his arrest, surveillance footage reportedly showed him at a gas station, appearing visibly nervous while buying a drink. The entire sequence of events has left the public shocked and heartbroken, struggling to understand how such a devastating tragedy could unfold so suddenly in what seemed like a quiet, normal household.